Hi, my name is Alex. I'm a full-time illustrator. I go by Little Beetles on the internet, and I make stuff like this. I do get quite a few questions about what art supplies I use, and I do try to tag the art supplies that I'm using on most every video so that people can reference the hashtags. However, sometimes I will forget one, and sometimes people just don't read them because, let's face it, it's TikTok and not everyone reads them, and I don't follow anybody for that. So I'm just gonna go over what art supplies I use so that you guys know what I'm using on my art, and you guys can try these things out too. Kuretake Gansei Tambi watercolor set. I have this set right here. I really enjoy it. I use it a lot for underpaintings and sometimes regular just little watercolor doodles. Jelly gouache. This is the Artist Loft set. I also have a Himi set. I like both of these sets. I think that they both work very well and I recommend both of them. They're not overly expensive and I use that very commonly with my sketchbook and paintings. I have these soft pastel pencils. I really enjoy these for sketching out my work on top of any painting layers that I do. Sometimes I'll also use them for coloring. I do also use oil pastels, which are not the same as soft pastels. Soft pastels are more chalky. Oil pastels are oil pastels. Branding doesn't really matter so much for oil pastels. Right now I'm kind of just defaulting to my Crayola ones, but I do have a couple of other brands. Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2 wax pastels. These are water-soluble wax pastels. They work a lot like crayons, except you can dissolve them with water. They're a lot of fun to mess with, and I highly recommend them. Acrylic markers. I interchange Artist Loft and Posca because Artist Loft is cheaper but has a few less colors than Posca. They both work very similarly and I really like them. They're really good, so you could try these too. Staedtler Tri Plus Fine Liner. I have neon colors and regular colors. These ones are really fun for outlining or adding little details here and there. These are a lot of fun to mess with and they're not really expensive. I have some watercolor pencils that I use here and there. I don't use them as watercolor pencils too much. However, having the option to dissolve them is fine, I guess. I mostly just use them as regular colored pencils. The brand that I like to use is this Deli brand that I had bought off of Wish like several years ago. These are fine. I haven't really used any others that I really care for, but I know that there are better ones out there. As for regular colored pencils, Prismacolor is usually my go-to. I love a Prismacolor pencil. I also really enjoy the Cezanne set, so colored pencils in general are fine with me. I prefer softcore and I recommend softcore. Matte acrylic paint. This is the Plaid Folk Art brand. I really enjoy these. I made a whole video talking about them. I also use regular acrylic gouache. I use Liquitex, Holbein, and Turner Acryl. So those are all good and I enjoy them as well. If you're a big fan of travel sketchbooking, like me, you can make stuff like this with these, the Derwent Inktense blocks. These are a lot of fun to mess with. They function like watercolor. They are ink sticks. You can just dissolve them in water. You can scribble on the page and draw with them. Very portable, very mindful, very demure. That's pretty much all of the art supplies that I use on a regular basis, some more than others, but that just kind of covers all of the bases. So hopefully that answered some questions and maybe gives you some new art supplies to try. If you have any questions about technique or anything, you can feel free to ask me and I will try to go into that as much as I can. But hopefully this was helpful to you and go make some